Okay, welcome into the Week 11 update. Just real quick before we get started, I just want to, trade deadline passed this week. Just talking to a few people, it sounded like we had some deals, and not many deals got done, but we had a few deals in the work. Which, like I said before, to me, trading is the one of the funnest parts of fantasy football, and you don't always have to wait to the trade deadline. I mean, sometimes it's fun to just kind of shake up that roster mid-season or even early season. You get an injury or something, but it's something I've always kind of talked about with the league, and never really gotten a lot of feedback on it. But it sounded like a few people kind of got into it this year, so hopefully that increases going forward. But few deals got done, which is always kind of exciting. So 3 weeks to play. Trade deadlines passed. The waiver wires picked over. Everybody's kind of got what they got. So instead of going like for the whip around, instead of like going real in depth into each team, I was just going to kind of give a quick rundown of where we are with the playoff scenarios. And we'll start at the top with Pat and Kathy. Kind of like I said last week, it kind of pulled away in this points race. And Pat is in at first with 1,591 points, has clinched at least second place in the division, and with that point total, even if didn't have that, he would be in the playoffs. But 2-game lead with 3 to play, so just a couple more wins, and he's got that first place, and looking good for the number 1 seed in the playoffs as well. And then Kathy in at number 2 with 1,570 points. Also has clinched a playoff spot, has clinched that second spot in the Lombardi. So in the playoffs for sure. Just a matter if she can track down Pat for that first spot in the division. And again, real quick, tiebreakers for the division is head-to-head, then division record, and then total points. And then for playoff spots, or playoff seeding, I should say, it's head-to-head and then total points. So, and I don't really kind of have everybody's head-to-head records worked out yet. We'll do that as we get, closer to the playoffs there. But there's your top 2 spots there, and the only 2 that have clinched spots in the playoffs so far. And then in that third in the points race is Ingrown Hairs with 1,462 points. So if the season ended right now, they would be in that 5th spot by virtue of having the most points of the first and second place teams in the division, but only a game out of that second place spot in the division. So a lot of different pathways there to the playoffs. Not clinched anything, but still with a lot of options to make it to the postseason. At 4th is RB, just a point behind at 1,461. They actually have that 1-game lead for second place and only a game out of first in the division. So similar. Lots of options there, a lot to fight for here over the last 3 weeks. And then Tony's in 5th in the points with 1,407, but in that driver's seat in division, like I said, with a 2-game lead on the 3rd place, just a win or 2 more, and a couple losses by some of those teams, and Tony can clinch that playoff spot, at least that 2nd spot in the division. So looking good for Fargo Ice Holes there. And then we have White Bronco kind of falling back a little bit in the points race, still within striking distance of that, that 5th place spot, but a better avenue for them, I think, is overtaking that the Rasta Dogs for second place. Just a game behind, 3 to play, so anything can happen down the stretch. But like I said, a little bit farther behind in the points, but still knocking on the door there for the second spot in the division. And really, those are kind of the teams that have the most realistic shot at the playoffs. Then you got the group led by John, TD Twisters, 1,354 points. So roughly like 110 out of that 5th spot. Not completely doable, but can't get in first or second division. So the only way these teams are going to make it is by finishing the highest points of the non first and second place teams. So, and really got their work cut out for them. Like I said, with the 100, and then so you got John 1,354, and then Blue Blobs, or actually Houday 23 is like 6/100ths of a point ahead of Blue Blobs, 1,330.58 to 1,330.52. So, again, it's a long shot, but wheel off a couple 150-point weeks, and you can get right back in it for all three of those teams. So definitely not out of it, but also definitely, a lot of work to do, or a lot of things need to break your way. And then you have your mama there. Things, kind of fell off after the Jefferson injury. So, kind of in the driver's seat for that number one spot, and maybe, take that Jefferson roller coaster ride again next year. We'll see. That'll be interesting to see if that's the way he goes. If Jefferson's even on the Vikings. I don't know. It's going to be a long offseason, interesting offseason, I think. So, kind of a quick one today. Like I said, everybody rosters are what they are. Any only thing left on the waivers are just maybe depth pieces and stuff like that. So now it just comes down to putting that lineup in, and the correct lineup in, and hoping for the best. So that's where we are. And that brings us to our game of the week. Again, a week of pretty many blowouts. I had Hurts and Swift kind of make it interesting between Kathy and I there on Monday night, but I was pretty much out of it the whole time. And then, you had John with that big 171-point week. But so the game of the week I settled on was actually the lowest scoring game of the week. Kind of officially put the dagger in Houday 23 as far as division race goes. And again, I was looking at this game all day on Sunday. I'm like, man, what do they got? Those guys got like 4:00 games going, or a bunch of Sunday night players, or whatever. And as it turned out, it started on Thursday with, Burr going down for Houday 23, and Andrews going down for Fargan Iceholes, and the injuries just kept mounting for both teams. Aaron Jones went out for Houday 23, and then Achan went out. I don't know if Tony lost Kevin Walker on Sunday as well. And really, it just came down to Tony got the big game out of Josh Allen, which that game was low scoring all the way up, till later. And the Bills kind of pulled away there in the, late in the third quarter into the fourth quarter. And that kind of was the difference in the game. Last gasp effort there from Kelsey. A big 17 points on Monday night, but not quite enough for Kevin. So Tony pulls off that, 86-77 win, which those are the kind of ugly wins you need, especially this time of year. I mean, if he loses that game, he drops in points and drops into a tie for second in the division. But, you get this win, and then, that kind of gives you that cushion in the second place and kind of softens the blow of that low point week. So again, when you're fighting for the postseason, that every little thing like that counts. So, not all wins are pretty, but they all count the same. So that's the way it goes. That's pretty much all I got for you. Just a quick one this week. And like I said, with 3 weeks to go, congratulations again to Pat and Kathy for clinching, and good luck to everybody else down the stretch.